What's going on, Boston Celtics fans? Welcome into Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I'm still Allie Barefoot, and thankfully Brad Stevens has given his take on filling the 15th and final roster spot for the Boston Celtics. I'll break that down, but the NBA Cup schedule was also released, and I want to break down who the Boston Celtics will be playing and what I think they will do in the NBA Cup. In case you guys weren't aware, the NBA Cup is actually just the in-season tournament, and they have now changed the name as the second year they will have an in-season tournament during the regular season for the NBA Cup. You get it? We love wordplay. All right, first things first, if you guys want the Boston Celtics to run it back this season, which I know all 38,000 of you do that are subscribed to this channel, Banner 19 coming soon, like this video if you're ready for Celtics basketball, if you want them to go back-to-back, and if you guys are still relishing in the fact that we are the NBA champions. Because look at the roster. Look at the familiarity that you see on your screen. I didn't even have to look up what the Boston Celtics roster was, despite not playing a game in 2 months, because I know everybody is coming back, from Tatum to Tillman, Luke Cornett to Kristaps Porzingis, Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, 38-year-old Dominican father of 5, Al Horford, we get for another year. But the list goes on. Baylor Shireman, he is the newest addition to the Boston Celtics roster. He was the 30th draft pick in the 2024 NBA draft. Neemias Queta signed a 3-year extension. Jaden Springer, we picked him up at the trade deadline, and it looks like he proved enough to stay a Celtic for 1 more year in Jordan Walsh. And there's also 3 two-way contracts solidified, done deal that can hopefully help out both the Maine Celtics and the Boston Celtics this upcoming season. Pick number 54, Anton Watson, in the 2024 NBA Draft. J.D. Davison, who was also just a two-way contract player for the Boston Celtics this last year, really got to showcase his skills at NBA Summer League. And Drew Peterson, a very tall, lanky type of shooter, but hopefully we can start to learn more about Drew Peterson this season as well. 13 out of the 15 players who earned Banner 18 are coming back. That is unheard of. That is the goal for the Boston Celtics, to accomplish this. 13 out of 15 players coming back. O'Shea Brissett can make this 14 out of 15 players coming back, but Svi Mykhailiuk unfortunately cannot. He did sign a 4-year contract with the Utah Jazz and Danny Ainge just days ago. So Svi Mykhailiuk, he is now off the board in free agency, but O'Shea Brissett has not ruled it out just yet. So maybe that could be the 15th and final roster spot. But that's the main question, right? Who is the final roster spot here for the Boston Celtics? Keep in mind, they do not have to fill that until April of next year. Neemias Queta did earn the 15th roster spot last season after he served as a two-way player in between Maine and the Boston Celtics. But the reason why I love Brad Stevens is because he's a GM for the people. He talks to the people. He answers the questions that the fans want to know. And I'm a fan, and I want to know, Brad, what are you doing with an open roster spot? Are you going to go get somebody new? Are you going to sign somebody we already know? Well, Brad pretty much said, shut up, Allie, and I'll tell you. He said to Adam Himmelsbach, just so you guys know, not to Allie Barefoot, he said to the Boston Globe, we're just going to monitor the health of our team and see how everybody's doing. And if there's any issues that arise between now and September that we need to really address, then we might use it. But right now, I'd say it's unlikely. We're still looking to sign a couple of Exhibit 10s that their most likely path will be to play in Maine, but we'll see. The one thing that I liked here was from now until September. We obviously start the season on October 22nd, so they're going to monitor Kristaps Porzingis. They're going to monitor probably the Olympic players to see how they're doing, but it's not a definite no that they're going to keep that roster spot open all the way back to October. But you have to be careful because of how tight this 2023-24 Celtics roster is. I mean, they were all just at Peyton Pritchard's wedding. They're a good friend group. You don't want to bring somebody in that's going to mess up the chemistry and the flow that Brad Stevens has perfectly crafted to enable the Boston Celtics 2024 NBA champions. So my prediction is that it'll probably end up being another two-way player. But you may need that 15th roster spot for center help, which is not Anton Watson, J.D. Davison, or Drew Peterson. You may have to look at another center elsewhere just because we already know you're heading into the season with an injury, and that's Kristaps Porzingis. And that is figuratively and literally a big injury. He's 7'3". So yes, you have Luke Cornett, you have Al Horford, you have Neemias Queta, but they may still end up using that 15th roster spot for somebody to help the Celtics while KP is unable to play. So, what do you guys say? Should the Celtics fill the final roster spot ahead of the season? So, probably around that September timeframe. Type F for fill, type W for wait. Wait until April. Wait until you see how the Celtics season goes because injuries happen every day. And it's my biggest nightmare every single day that something's going to happen to the Celtics. But you already have Porzingis on the injury report. So, do you take action now or do you just try and hold off? Well, we're going to break down what I think and plus the NBA Cup in just a moment, but our sponsor is back. PrizePicks is back on Celtics Today by Chat Sports, and although they may have taken a little hiatus here while NBA basketball season was over, I have been playing PrizePicks still every single day because it's not just for the basketball fan, it's for the football fan, the baseball, the WNBA, the golf, the soccer, the Call of Duty player. And if you guys want to go on ahead and get started, here's what you've got to do. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000, but all you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll on in. It is Tuesday, and as you guys know, Tuesday is Taco Tuesday according to PrizePicks. So if you see this little man with a taco, that is going to be a discounted price on a player's projected stats. It's MLB season right now, obviously in the dog days of summer, so I took 2 baseball PrizePicks here. But with the NFL season right around the corner, the NBA season 70 days away, and the WNBA kicking back up on Thursday, go on ahead, download PrizePicks right now, create an account, and you can use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. All you got to do is pick more, pick less. It is truly that easy to watch yourself win some real money in real time. Did I say we were 70 days away from starting the season? Because we are 70 days away. I feel like the season ended yesterday. That is how the summer goes. Thankfully, we were spoiled this summer and got to watch Tatum, Holiday, and White, I almost said Brown, that would have been controversial, White play in Team USA's Olympic match this summer, but we are this close to watching the Boston Celtics start the 2024-25 NBA season, which means it's time to catch you guys up on what's been happening around the league and break down the NBA Cup schedule because it's not that long after the October 22nd start of the season against the New York Knicks. In fact, in November 12th versus the Atlanta Hawks, the Boston Celtics will kick off their NBA Cup schedule. And when I saw the Atlanta Hawks, it flashed me all the way back to earlier this year when they lost 2 back-to-back losses on the road. And if I'm not mistaken, Smitty, this is actually when Joe Mazzulla ended up tearing his meniscus, maybe? He did something in his leg. Right. His jiu-jitsu trainer. So Joe Mazzulla even got injured in this 2-day hiatus when they were in Atlanta for like 5 days, lost back-to-back to the Atlanta Hawks without Trae Young. I mean, these 2 games have kept me up at night. I'm not going to lie. But thankfully for the Boston Celtics, the Atlanta Hawks actually traded away DeJounte Murray to the New Orleans Pelicans this offseason. So when they take on the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA Cup, you're really only going to have to worry about Trae Young and maybe Bogdan Bogdanovic, considering what he just did for Serbia against Team USA in the Olympics, which was nasty. So the Atlanta Hawks do still have the same resources. Clint Capella, they've got Bogdan Bogdanovic, Trae Young, like I said. You said what? Zachary Richardson, that's right. The first pick of the NFL draft as well. This is how long it's been since I've been in NBA mode, everybody. The Atlanta Hawks may not be easy to beat, but it's still the Boston Celtics, so I'm going to take 1-0 against the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA Cup. But then it's going to get a little bit tougher here. Got to go against the Cleveland Cavaliers on November 19th. So they get a nice week off, and then you play the second game in your NBA Cup. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, of course, we just played them the most recently in the NBA playoffs. We won in 5 games in the semifinals of the NBA playoffs, but Donovan Mitchell, he got injured during that series, so that's why a lot of people say it was a cookie-cutter cakewalk to the finals, but it wasn't. They extended Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell in the offseason, so it looks like they're trying to keep the same roster that was still very intimidating to the Celtics in the regular season and the playoffs as well. We saw Darius Garland, Okoro, and we also saw the Celtic killer, Dean Wade, for some God-known reason. But it also looks like they're looking to re-sign Isaac Okoro as well. So we should be seeing some similar faces when you face the Cleveland Cavaliers. There'll be a test for the Celtics, but knowing they'll face the exact same roster gives me some hope. Then, in my opinion, the Celtics get a nice little break here. The Washington Wizards. If I'm wrong, let me know, but I don't think they made any offseason moves that are making them a threat to the Boston Celtics. Maybe a threat to the Detroit Pistons, but I don't think to the Celtics. Because what the Wizards did this last season is that they traded Denny away for Malcolm. So it actually looks like the former Boston Celtic Malcolm Brogdon will now be playing for the Washington Wizards. The Celtics haven't played Brogdon just yet because he was injured when he played for the Blazers when they did trade him away. So that'll be very interesting to see, but it's not going to be a Brogdon homecoming to Boston just yet. They also drafted Alex Sarr, the number 2 pick in the NBA draft, a very top prospect, and Bub Carrington in the first round. So they dominated the NBA draft. But to complement Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma, we have yet to see. So they could bring enough talent to make this a good ball game. But I still don't think they'll be a threat in the NBA Cup. Plus, they lost Tyus Jones of the Phoenix Suns in 2024 NBA free agency. But the Bulls. And I know what you're thinking. The Bulls? Who cares? Except for Patrick Seatman. But the Bulls may shape up to be a contender for the NBA Cup this season. Why? Because they've made a couple of big roster moves. Number one, not that I agree with this, but they traded away Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey. I love Alex Caruso. I love a scrappy, defensive-minded player, and that's what Alex Caruso is, and he's now playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Josh Giddey does improve this Chicago Bulls roster, but it'll be interesting to see how he meshes in the city. DeMar DeRozan signed with the Kings. They lost Caruso and DeMar DeRozan. That's going to be some big shoes to fill, but I do believe Coby White is a name we will be talking about again in late November because this kid is about to go nutty. He played phenomenally last year for the Chicago Bulls, who sucked. Now you've given him some resources to help not be as bad. I do think Coby White is going to give the Boston Celtics a tough time. But overall, I say the Boston Celtics win their division in the NBA Cup. They go 4-0. When you look at it on paper, when you look at the roster that I just showed you guys, we're still the top dogs in the NBA. And I do think this NBA Cup is going to be fun. Because how nice would it be to win the NBA Cup and the NBA Finals in one season? We would be the first team that ever did it in the history of the NBA. So, with that being said, if you guys want the Celtics to win the NBA Cup, go on ahead and like this video. And just a little preface here. I know this isn't the trophy we want them to hoist this year, but it still would be a really cool accomplishment. So if you guys want them to win, all you have to do is like this video.